Hola and welcome back to another episode of A Layover. Today's Layover Talks destination is all about Guatemala City. And you already know the drill. We're going to talk about 3 places to visit and 3 recommendations of where to eat. First up on the list, we have the Aurora Zoo. This zoo has all sorts of different animals from Asia, Africa, and the Americas. The location is super close to the airport and also to our layover hotel. We can't really walk there just because of the way that the roads are set up in Guatemala City. However, you can take a 5 to 10 minute Uber ride for just $3. The entry fee, guys, are you ready for this? It's only $6 US. They have tons of animals to see and you are really gonna enjoy your time there. So remember, Aurora Zoo. Next up, the city of Antigua. It's described as a small city surrounded by volcanoes. It is renowned for its Spanish colonial buildings. The city has a lot of charm and also has history for all those history lovers. It is up to an hour from Guatemala City, so the Uber ride is probably around $30 each way. I have yet to actually go to this city. It was actually recommended. However, on my next layover to Guatemala, hopefully if I have enough time, I'll be able to visit. The hours are actually from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. most days. They're actually closed on Mondays. So I recommend to look at the hours before you go so you make sure that they're open when you're there. And the last recommendation, we have Oakland Place. This is a polished multi-level retail complex with over 200 stores and restaurants, plus a cinema. This is also close to the airport and our layover hotel. It is also about 5 to 10 minute Uber ride. It'll cost you about $3 to get there. What's interesting about this place is that not only does it have American stores, it also has local stores and stuff like that. So it's very different, the experience you get when you go to Oakland Place. First up, we have El Restaurante Siete Caldos. This restaurant has an extensive menu of authentic Guatemalan food based on broths, meats, and seafood. It is located just a short Uber ride away from the airport or our layover hotel in the Zona 10 area. The price ranges from $5 to $20 per plate, and the hours are 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day. Next up, we have The Market. This place has tons of food options. They have breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They are located in 2nd Avenue and 14th Street. Their plates also range from $5 to $20, and the hours are from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day. This is a good option because it's right around the corner from our hotel. Our last food recommendation is actually a fast food restaurant. It is Pollo Campero. And this restaurant is like super cheap. It just serves it's more like a chicken restaurant, but it is pretty good. They have a few locations throughout Guatemala City, and the hours are from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. The price range is about $5 to $15. And I will say I really enjoy Guatemala City. It's super cheap. It's fun, it's full of culture. I've mostly taken Uber rides throughout Guatemala City. Now, if you are gonna walk, just again, be careful, be cautious, take someone with you, and that way you guys can enjoy it together. And guys, if you have any other recommendations of places to eat or go, please don't hesitate to submit them to me so I can talk about them on a future episode. Next up, our guest is a former classmate, also a friend of mine from training, Natalie. Hey Natalie, welcome to a layover.
Hey, how are you?
Good. So today we're gonna have you talk a little bit about yourself,
Okay.
where you're from, your base, how long have you been flying, and the industry you came from.
Hi, my name is Natalie. I'm originally from South Florida. I'm currently based in New York City. The industry I came from before flying is aviation, actually. I used to be an agent with another airline. So before coming into the flight attendant world, I was a little bit familiar with everything.
How long have you been flying?
Oh, so I have been flying for, oh my gosh, how long has it been? Like 8 months now, going on 9.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's right. Eight to 9 months
8 to
now.
9, right? So it's
Yeah.
been great, good experiences.
And what convinced you to become a flight attendant?
You know, I kind of just woke up one day and I saw the position was open and I just applied. People have told me before, like, "Oh, you look like a flight attendant. You should be a flight attendant." And I was like, "Okay." So I just applied and I went to the face to face, got a CJO, and yeah, it wasn't like this whole I always wanted to be a flight attendant story. I just kind of just took the leap of faith and here I am.
I think you definitely have the flight attendant look because I remember when I saw you in training, you were one of the first ones that I saw, and I was like, damn, she really does like with your hair
Aww.
slicked back, your red lipstick. It was just like, yeah, she's gonna get it. We're gonna go ahead and jump into the 5 Q&A questions that we have.
Okay.
So our very first question: do you get nervous flying in bad weather?
Um, no. So, well, yes and no. I only get nervous during landing. So taking off and in flight, the cruising altitude is not bad at all. I don't get nervous. I only get nervous during landing, especially at LaGuardia because our runway is short in New York.
I know. You guys have a
Yeah,
very
so
short runway.
every time, like, it's not even JFK, it's LaGuardia. Every time landing in LaGuardia, it's like the plane is going like this. And that's the only time I ever really get nervous. But I just trust that our captains as first officers know what they're doing. And I mean, yeah, but that's the only
No,
time I
it's so funny because LaGuardia, I actually just had a turn, a Miami to LaGuardia turn yesterday.
yeah.
And that's what I was telling the other flight attendant. I was like, oh my God, I swear we're going to land in water because it's
Yeah,
like the
yeah, yeah,
runway's
yeah.
so short. And when you look out the little window, all you see is water. So I'm
Literally.
like, are we going to land on land
Yeah,
or in
like, are we
water?
gonna
Because
do like a
it's
water
crazy.
landing, like a distance? Like,
Like, should we
what's going
prepare
on?
everyone? Like, for me, I do get nervous when flying in bad weather, but people need to realize that if it's really bad weather, we're not even gonna fly. Like
Exactly.
they won't even allow us to fly.
Yeah.
So, as far as turbulence, when bad turbulence happens, you do get a little bit nervous. But if you're in your seat, I don't know. I might be the only one. Maybe I'm not the only one. But I kind of feel like it's kind of fun sometimes.
Yeah,
When you're in your seat and there's a
it
little
is.
bit of turbulence and you're just
Yeah,
kind of
like have you if you ever flown business on the wide body where it's like a lie down seat, it literally feels like somebody is rocking you to sleep. It's the best feeling. It is so fun.
Yeah. Like turbulence can be
Yeah,
fun if
it's
it's
so
like
fun.
mild. But if it's
Yeah,
crazy, then okay.
yeah, yeah,
Then
yeah.
so the second question we have you had the opportunity to meet anyone famous on any of your flights?
I have. So we were flying from Austin to New York JFK, and there was a super, super, super famous tennis player, female tennis player on our flight.
Oh.
So I served her water. So that's like, hmm. But she was really nice. We wanted to ask her for a picture, but we were just scared. I don't know.
I've had several because Miami to New York or Miami to LA, most of the
Oh
time
yeah.
you're gonna have someone that's known. I had a pop star on my flight. Um, she was really nice. Very like low maintenance. She didn't ask for much. All she asked was for like coffee and then that's it. A governor. I had a Victoria's Secret supermodel and I actually took a picture with her. So she was super, super nice. She allowed us to take a picture with her. I knew as soon as she came in, she has to be a model because she was super tall. And the flight attendant I worked with knew who she was. Some of the other ones have been like CEOs, things like that, but
Yeah, yeah,
people don't
yeah,
really
yeah.
know them.
Yeah.
They're rich, but people don't know them like they're not.
Right.
What do you enjoy most about being a flight attendant?
Ooh. I like the flexibility of it. Like
Okay.
you're kind of able to make your own schedule in terms of days off or what
Hmm.
trips you want to pick up. I've picked up 3 trips, just not picked up, but like bid for 3 trips on reserve, just so I can see my mom. And like that's something that you can never
Oh,
have with another job. I also love the benefits because I feel like, that's kind of huge factor when deciding to work in aviation. But yeah, just the flexibility and the benefits.
yeah.
People you work with are really great.
Natalie has definitely used her benefits to the max, which I
Yeah,
love that for you. I still have yet to use any of my benefits. Well, I've used it like one time, and then when I go see my family in Tennessee, I use
you
it.
haven't
But
used it
other
yet?
than that, no, I haven't gone anywhere, which I'm like, this month I have to go somewhere.
Yeah,
I have 40s off, so I'm like, I'll go somewhere,
yeah.
but
Go
we'll
somewhere.
see. For me, I will say that I think the thing that I enjoy the most about being a flight attendant is the fact that we learn about so much different cultures, right? You get to go to all these cool countries, meet cool people, try new foods. And I think to me that's so amazing because, like, what other job will you have that you're able to actually have this much time to explore this beautiful world? Number four, what is something that passengers always ask you that we do not have? I'll start this one off.
Yeah,
So I know when I'm like the number one handling first class, they always ask me for green tea or chamomile tea.
yeah.
And I'm like, no, we
Uh,
just have regular black tea. That is all we have. But they assume that there's like a whole selection
a
and
whole like
variety of all these different
collection. Yeah,
teas and like if they saw like our little galley is so tiny, it only holds certain things. Like we don't have like a whole supermarket back there where we're just kind of like,
yeah.
okay, here we have this. No, for me, it's black tea and chamomile tea.
For me, people ask me for lemonade, and I'm like,
Oh, that's true. They do
yeah,
ask for that
lemonade.
too.
I'm like, I only have orange juice and apple juice. Sorry.
Yeah.
Lemonade,
And
yeah.
people, and I know in main cabin, people ask a lot for like blankets and pillows.
Yes, I
And,
had
you know,
them.
on some of our flights we do. So I understand why they ask for
Yeah.
that, but
If it's
that's
like
just some
a flight
flights.
time is like an hour and 30 minutes, and then ask you for blankets and pillows.
Yeah, I'm like, we don't have that. Bring your own. We don't have that. The last question we have, which has been the destination you've enjoyed the most and why?
I think the destination I enjoyed the most was London. Because the first time I went, the crew was super, super junior. We had no senior mamas, no senior papas, so we had to figure out service and like really work together. Everyone was just so great, and we went out. It was such a great time. So definitely London. Just because it's always been a dream of mine to go to London and to see everything and the palace, Buckingham Palace, and Big Ben, and it was just such like a great experience. So definitely London. That's one of my favorite.
Have you done a lot of IPDs from New York?
I've done 3 Londons and that's it. Yeah.
Okay. I have yet to do any IPDs, but honestly, I'm not sure if I even want to do any of them because the flights are just so long. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
I mean, for
I don't
my
know about that.
Brazil, Argentina, and Peru, and then Europe, right?
From Miami, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have, yeah, those are the ones we have. I still to this day think for me, my favorite destination has been Medellin. And that's just because it was my first flight. Like I said, the crew was super cool. They took me out. So I still think that that's my favorite for sure.
Yeah.
Now we're going to switch it up a little bit. We are going to talk about the worst passenger experience. What has that been?
Oh my gosh.
I have a story, but I'm going to let you go first and then I'll tell you my story.
Okay. So, whew, this is the one that got me. Okay. So we were going from, I don't remember where we were coming from, but we were landing in Charlotte. And I was on a 321 and I was in the jump seat at like the second door facing the passengers. So when you're there, like everyone can just see you pretty much, right?
Yeah.
So we're literally landing, like landing gear is out. We're skimming the treetops. You can see people walking their dogs on the side of the window. Like we're landing, okay? And the call
Wow.
out button goes off. And then, we can't get up during landing. So then this lady, a couple rows back, she's like, excuse me, excuse me. So then I get on the PA. I said, flight attendants needs to be seated during landing. If it's an emergency, ring a call out button again. They ring it
Right.
again. So in my head, I'm like, oh my God, what is going on right now? So I can't get up because we're literally landing. And
Right.
I feel like people don't understand that our priority is the safety of all of the passengers on the aircraft. So if
Right.
something were to happen during landing, we need to be by our doors. So we land, we get off the runway, and then I go up to see what the emergency was. And her daughter was vomiting, like she was throwing up. And I'm like, okay, you have a waste bag right in front of you.
Right. Waist
So
bag, is
I'm
that
like,
all?
what you wanted me to get up for? So then I give her a market bag and some napkins, and I go back to my jump seat. So then when we get to the gate, she starts like cursing me out, yelling because the passengers are
What?
setting up and she wanted to deplane first. She was calling me like every name in the book, and I'm just there, and you know, I'm just like
And
people
where was she seated? What row?
like 16 or 17.
And she wanted to deplane first.
Yeah. So
Oh
I
gosh.
actually called the one while we were taxiing to the gate. I'm like, hey, like there's a sick passenger. And then he was like, okay, thanks for letting me know. And then she just started screaming and yelling. And she's like, what are you guys here for? And I'm like, people get sick all the time. At least every trip, somebody throws up, and
Exactly. And I think that's what passengers need to realize is that it's very common to throw up when
it
we're about to
is
land. That's why we have those waste bags so that they can use that and not have to call us when
during
that's
landing. But yeah, I feel like people need to understand that we're there for safety. We're not medical professionals. That was my worst one. That was like my first cry in the lavatory moment. So yeah,
oh my gosh. You know, I haven't had one of those yet, but I'm sure it's coming.
yeah,
I'm
it's
sure.
coming. Hmm.
I was actually in first class and I was eating my food in the galley, and a passenger from main cabin comes up and is like, hey, I need to use the restroom. And so someone was in there at the time. So then she turns to me and asks me, hey, what are you eating? And I was like, oh, my lunch. And she's like, do you have fruit? And I was like, no, I don't have any fruit. And she comes over to me, looks over my shoulder and points at my food and says, "What's that?" And I said, "They're apricots. Here, you can have them." And so I give her the apricots that were on the plate, and she then proceeds to say, "Oh my God, you're so handsome. You're so handsome." She's like, "Can I touch your face?" And I was like, "No, you can't touch my face." And she's like, "Kiss me."
Was
She
this?
literally, I kid you not, she says, "Kiss me." And I'm like, "Ma'am, I'm not gonna kiss you." At this point, I'm like backed up into like the forward service door. And I'm like backed up like this. And I'm like, "Ma'am, I'm not gonna kiss you." So then I was like, "Are you here for the restroom? Because now it's open." The guy walked out. So she goes into the restroom, is in there for like 40 minutes. The captain needs to use the restroom. I tell the captain the situation. She ends up opening the door of the bathroom while she's using it and looks at me and says, "Is my car rental going to be ready when we land?"
Oh
And I
no.
was like, "You are not serious right now." Girl, when I tell you, I lost my patience at that point because I was like, "You're not, this is so gross. Like, it's disgusting. I don't want to see you using the restroom." I was like, "You need to go back to your seat." She ended up staying in there when we landed. I mean, at that point, we were like, "Ma'am, you need to sit down." We told her it's super dangerous. Yeah, that was the story. And then I ended up telling the gate agent. She got on another flight. She ended up punching another passenger
Oh
and
my God.
got kicked out of the flight.
You see, this is a thing. I feel like when we tell ground crew, like, hey, this passenger is off,
Yeah,
I feel like they should not be allowed on a second
right.
flight.
It's
Because
like there's a
in my
reason why I'm telling you. I'm
situation,
not just trying to pick on a passenger.
exactly. And then she ends up punching someone.
Yeah, she ends up punching someone on the next flight. Isn't this crazy? This is wild. Like, I still to this day don't believe that it was true, but it was. I ended up writing like a whole like report on it and stuff like that. But
That's crazy.
but crazy. That was my worst passenger to date. Now, it was what during like it was in my 6th month.
Mhm.
So one bad passenger in 6 months. I was like, if that happens, that's pretty good. The odds are pretty good.
Yeah, it was
One in
never
six
funny. Like
months.
that was the only incident I ever had, and like I think I was
Yeah.
7 months at the time. So I'm like, you know what, fine, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the flight attendants I flew with, she actually said, "I think I'm gonna write a book on like airplane etiquette." And I was like, "Girl, you
Yeah.
should do it. That would be like a New York bestseller
Yeah.
because
Oh my
I
God.
think a lot of people can learn from that."
A lot of people can learn airplane etiquette, and what we are actually there for should be more like common knowledge. Like people should know more about it.
Well, Natalie, thank you so much for joining
Thank you
me
for
in another
having
episode
me.
of A Layover. Until next time.
Bye.